Hey guys, it is Kevin here in Japan, and I just wanted to make a video response to a video I just saw called Being a Lifer in Korea by Onceatraveler, and this is going to be kind of a rambling video, but he talks about the fact that he's lived both in Korea and Japan, and he talks about the concept of lifers. Now what a lifer is, and it's funny because I have not heard this term in years since I left Korea. I only ever heard this term in Korea. Now maybe people use it here in Japan, and the term lifer always had kind of like a negative connotation to it. Often if you were an English teacher, if you are an English teacher in Korea and you've been there just for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, a lot of newer teachers or younger teachers will often refer to you as a lifer, and they definitely mean it in kind of a negative way, as if there's something wrong with you if you were a long-term expat, which I find very interesting because, you know, I'll speak for myself as a Canadian, or for Canadian. Well, I won't speak for Canadians. I'll speak for myself as a Canadian. But, you know, I think there's definitely a history of Canadians who have been lifetime expats, and even expats for generations. You look at Canadians who lived in Singapore, Hong Kong, Shanghai, for example, in Asia, or, you know, London, Paris, places like that. There are people who you know, moved there as, you know, university students or very young people, and got married to a local and raised a family, bought homes, and lived there the rest of their lives as Canadians. But for some reason, when you have a 22-year-old or 23-year-old fresh graduate from university coming to Asia and they meet someone who's been there for a few years, they find that strange, probably because it's something very different. They're coming to Korea just for a year to teach and have fun and drink a lot of beer and party it up, or they're just there to travel, or they're just, you know, trying to save a few bucks so, you know, they go back home and, you know, get a graduate degree or something. But nonetheless, for a lot of people who just plan to move to Asia for a year, so they find that when they meet people who've been there for a really long time, some people will find that kind of strange. And I find it strange that they find that strange, because, whatever, it's kind of close-minded, huh? I think people who find long-term expats odd, I should say the concept of living abroad odd, because there are a lot of odd long-term expats, and short-term expats. The concept of living abroad for a long time, I think there's nothing strange about that at all. I think every country has that kind of, you know, an element of that history. Now, I think one thing that's very interesting, a comparison or a contrast between Korea and Japan, is that in Korea it's very rare, well, at least for me, it was very rare to meet expats who are long-term expats, people who had been there for 15, 20, 25 years. I really had not met many people like that. Whereas in Japan, I've met so many people who have been here for a long time, 15, 20 years. They own houses, they have cars, they have children, they speak Japanese, and I find it's a lot more common, and maybe because there's more of a history of foreigners living here in Japan than in Korea. It's been kind of open to foreigners longer. Maybe, you know, I'm just pulling this out of my butt, guys. These are my thoughts. You know, and one thing that often there's an interesting dynamic you see, not dynamic, I should say an interesting thing you'll see with some foreigners who come live here for a long time, and even a short time sometimes. The angry foreigner. The angry foreigner. You will meet a lot of foreigners who come here, and like Onceatraveler said in his video, you know, they start to quickly realize that they don't fit in. They don't fit in Korea. They don't fit into Japan. It doesn't matter how well they speak the language, if they wear the clothes, or they know about the fashion, the history, they marry a local, they don't fit in because they are a foreigner and they're living in a homogenous culture, and they never will fit in, and that really irritates some people, beyond irritates some people. That there's some people who can never come to grips with that fact, that they work so hard to fit in and they never will. And again, the Onceatraveler video, he mentioned that the people who seem to survive well and do well and enjoy life, long-term life abroad, are people who are more easygoing, or they laugh it off. They do understand their place in the big picture. They understand that they are an outsider. They will always be on the periphery. And the people who understand that and accept it seem to do well. Now, in his video, Onceatraveler was talking about how he's planning on leaving in the next few months, just because, you know, it's time for him to go, and I think that happens to a lot of us too. We realize that it's time to go. I mean, I myself, like after 5+ years in Korea, I went back home to Canada, and I went back to university, and I became a licensed elementary school teacher. And I really want to teach in Canada. I want to teach Canadian kids. I really, it's something I trained to do. I think I'm pretty good at what I do, and I think I could really make a difference in some kids' lives back in my own country. So, not saying that I plan on going back forever, but in the next few years I do plan on heading back to Canada to teach with my family, of course. Will it be forever? Well, of course it won't. I mean, it won't be forever because you know, my wife is Japanese, and I have a lot of connections with this country, which I really like. But, you know, do I disrespect those who live here long term? Of course not, absolutely not. I think it takes a very special person to do that. I think it takes a person who is very tolerant. I think it takes a person who's very open-minded, who's got an adventurous spirit. I think it takes a very different kind of person to live in another country, not just Japan. You know, again, anywhere in the world. You know, Europe, Asia, you know, the Middle East, Africa, anywhere. Especially those people who live in Antarctica. They're adventurous. So yeah, I promised this would be rambling. It was. I hope I didn't disappoint. So check out the Being a Lifer in Korea video by Onceatraveler. I'll put the link below in the doobly-doo. And I got the day off today. I got a couple of days off this week in the middle of the week. So right now my son's actually crashed out next to him having a nap. So I took this opportunity to record this vloggity. So there you go, guys. I promise to be doing a lot more writing on my blog. I've got another big writing project I'm working on right now. I'm doing some research, kind of a bookish form type thing. But I've been doing a lot more blogging lately. A lot of people have been checking my blog this week, which has been great. Link to my blog is below as well. And you can always find me on Twitter at jlandkev. I'm always kind of blabbering around there. I love the Twitter. And I'm on Google Plus now too. If any of you out there are on Google Plus. So there you go, guys. So I got to take off now and do something. So again, check out the links below. Good stuff. Later, guys. Take care and sayonara.